Hey YouTube, this is Omega Seeker coming to you. A lot of times in our community we talk about, hey, you need to grab your go bag and get your stuff and ready to go. And a lot of times we just take our stuff and we throw it into our car like this. And you can be going down the road, whether you're going to be practicing a bug out or whatever scenario you have to do, even if you go camping. A lot of times we just take our stuff and we just throw it in a car like this. And it's messy, it's not really organized. So I'm going to show you some things that I've done. When you need to go, there's been a lot of videos about getting your stuff together and you have no idea where any of it is. So why don't we take a look at how we put our stuff into containers so we know where everything's at. So let's take a look at that. Recently, I have come up with some ways to carry my car gear and my everyday carry gear. I started off with the simple plastic containers that you can find at Walmart at the bottom, and I recently moved up to, I guess, sort of like a tackle box or an electronic box that you can throw all your gear and whatnot. And you can store a lot of gear into this, but the cool thing about this is, like we showed earlier, your gear is not hanging all over the place. It's hidden, and you can categorize it, put it into certain containers that are marked necessarily, which could be marked for food, can be marked for water, it could be marked for your everyday carry, it could be marked for your car gear, it can be marked for separate things that you need to get to. And that way you know where everything's at. You could be living on the West Coast, you could be living on the East Coast, you could have an earthquake. You could be having land hurricanes. You could run into even a terrorist attack. You could run into power outages that can last for several weeks. So there are a lot of things that we need to be considering on whether or not we're just going to keep our gear at home or if we're going to keep it in the car. And if we're going to keep it in the car, are we going to keep it messy, so to speak, or are we going to keep it organized? So I've got this Contigo container. This obviously depends on what's going on. If I had to, if you're a first responder, there's a lot of gear out there. Just for some ideas for some of us simple folk who are concerned about times and we don't know what we're going to run into. You could always place a vest in here. You could have another quick bag that you can set up. There are also other small bags. This just is giving you some ideas. If you want to, you could be pretty like me and you can color coordinate it. But the whole point is I have different systems and different containers for different things. This one right now, these are my EDC bags. Each bag is set up differently for different types of situations. A lot of people choose to go with those tactical loadout bags. The advantage to a tactical loadout bag is, one, they look pretty. They've got a lot of pockets on the side. They've got straps that you can use if you had to carry it, if you needed to get to a certain place and ditch your vehicle and walk. The downside to it is it's not discreet. It is harder to hide this if you're trying to be discreet, so to speak, even if it's an everyday situation as opposed to a bug out situation. It's a great way to store stuff, but it's not necessarily practical to the point if you're trying to fit a lot of equipment. So let's take a look at some ways that we can fit a lot of equipment. So here are some ways to load some of your equipment, food, whatever you need to. You can grab these construction containers. You can have them set up in your garage. You can have them numbered. In a bit, we're going to look at trailers that you can carry your gear with. But check this out. Let's take a look and see what's inside and what we can store in one of these containers. So here we're at looking at one of these Stanley containers. The cool thing about this is the new generation have these hard metal clips that you can put a lock on. The older guys have these plastic clips. I don't like them as much. And also these wheels here, they break a lot easier than the newer ones. I have several of these, and trust me, you want to find the ones with the metal clips, metal locks. So let's take a look. We've got one to-go bag, EDC bag, 2 EDC bag, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're probably close to a 48-hour kit ready to go. So here's my point. You can stack a bunch of stuff in these containers easily. You can know where they're at. You don't have to run around your house if something happens. You can have this stored in your laundry room, in your garage, in a shed if you had to. But the point is, you know where your gear is. All you have to do is potentially get home, grab a few containers, load them up, get out the door. Now, let me go through and take a look at all the separate different types of containers that you can have. Let me show you what I've used over the years. So as you can see, here are just some ideas of something you can do to grab containers and go. You can find these at Walmart. They're pretty cheap. Now, look at the price difference. You've got this bag here. I think this retails for about $175. That container down there, under 50 bucks. This container right here, under $10. And this container down here at the Walmarts, or you might be able to find the Walmarts. They may have them, but they're the smaller kind. So if you have a smaller vehicle, that will work out for you. But that larger Stanley construction container runs anywhere from $50 to $75. What I like about it is it's got a little handle that you can pull out, and you can lift that because you can stick a lot of weight into that. Okay, so I hope I helped you guys figure some things out. Down the road, I'll show you how I set them up, but I just wanted to show you right now, this is a way to store all of your stuff. That way you don't have to be running around the house trying to find things. Get organized right now. We live in uncertain times. Have an everyday carry system where you have at least a 3-day kit ready to go.